Also, Noah Lyles is the fastest man currently in America, in the world. And so he's 100 and 200 meters, and still, nobody's surpassed Usain Bolt, and that's been 13 years, I think. He's been the fastest man in the world time-wise for 13 years. It stood. But Noah Lyles got a lot of talent, a lot of potential. He's not a big name. You got to do it in the Olympics, and then, that's where you stand out. That's where Bolt made his name, and having a great name, Usain Bolt. But, when you win the championship at the World Games, when your track and field is worldwide. And he, for some reason, the great sprinter called out NBA champions who are not world champions.
The thing that hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA Finals, and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States? Don't get me wrong. I love the U.S. at times, but that ain't the world. That is not the world. We are the world. We have almost every country out here fighting, thriving, putting on their flag to show that they are represented. There ain't no flags in the NBA.
All right. Well, some of the NBA players called him out. Kevin Durant, I think Dame Lillard. You do have players from around the world who play in the NBA. It's like baseball. I had a problem with being the World Series champion because if you had the best from the United States playing, somebody from Japan, then that would be interesting, I would think. But where you're the World Series champ. The NBA champs, yes, people do say, hey, we're world champs. But all these great players from around the world do get to play in the NBA. Yes, Heaton.
That's always driven me nuts. The whole world champions thing when you're not playing against other people. So how are you the world champion? You know what I mean? But somebody once said to me on Twitter, find another team in the world that can beat them. And then you're kind of like, oh, yeah, all right, I guess Well,
do I think that there's a team elsewhere who could have beaten the Denver Nuggets? But am I allowed to get the guys from the NBA on that team to face the Denver Nuggets? Because I could come up with that. I think you could put together a team that could compete with the Denver Nuggets.
Well, yeah, you could put one together.
Yeah.
But, is there a team playing in France right now that would beat the Denver Nuggets?
Well, because the best players come over here.
Yeah.
If they didn't get to come over here and you're like, man, I'd love to see them. Well, okay, the Soviet Union. When those Russian players couldn't come over here and play, they're able to compete and beat, NBA teams. College teams. Yes, Todd.
So is it inaccurate? Is it arrogant? Is it alienating? What do we make of the fact
What do you make of it?
I think it's borderline arrogant to say it's the World Series or the World Championship, if anything, that just takes place in the United States.
Once again, it's how important are certain things to you? There's a lot more things important than this where I go, God, this is really bothering me. But it is a sports topic. So I get it. Once you get into the topic, does it bother me on a daily basis? No. But then you get into the topic, and then I go, okay, I can see where people could nitpick. Certainly over the Baseball World Series. Yes, Marv.
Maybe not the NBA. That doesn't really bother me about world champions, but the Super Bowl. World champions kind of bothers me. Not daily, but, we're world champs. Just of the U.S.
That doesn't bother me at all. There's no other football. Gaelic football is not going to compete with the Chiefs.
Chill, you don't know that.
I do know that. I do know
they
that.
Come over from Dublin right now.
Yeah, I know that. Man, did we get an earful when we were in Dublin about how great Gaelic football is, and they're tougher, and they don't need pads, and they invented football for us.
And hurling, too.
Yeah.
Almost anybody that I talk to, you here for the game? Yeah. You ever heard of hurling? It was almost always the second question. You ever heard of hurling?
Yeah. Yeah. Marvin's going to do that later on tonight when we do some drinking.
Whoa.
Did you get sick?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Did you almost get sick?
I woke up hungover.
Okay.
That's not fun.
No, it's not.
Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Friday night, me and Seton, the elder statesman, went out with the BRGs.
Yeah.
And as a former BRG, Dylan in his voice, I can't do it. Seton can do it. oh, Marvin, you got to come out and drink.
How late were you guys out Friday night in Dublin? Were you out till Saturday morning in Dublin?
Oh, well into Saturday morning.
Oh, you were?
Oh, yeah. By the time we got food,
Yeah.
and I got back to the room, it was well into the 4 o'clock hour. Yeah.
Does Noah Lyles have a point here in that he is calling out all the sports in the United States? Yes, Paul.
I'm trying to wonder where it came from. He's in Budapest. He's at the World Championships. He's playing to a mostly international press corps, not an American press corps.
It sounds like a great interview.
Yeah, he was having a fun time. He's got some star power and some swagger. He's a good kid. I think he was having a little fun, and I think people are taking it a little more seriously than what he meant it to be.
Yes,
But I mean, it does sound ridiculous.
world champ.
Yeah, we're the world champ in every sport that we play. Because we're the only people that play these sports. It's kind of stupid.
But if we invent the sport, can we say that?
No.
Okay. Does
We only play sports that we invented?
does Georgia say they're the world champions in college football?
I think they probably do.
They say national
I
champs.
think they probably say world champions.
They say did UConn basketball? Did they say we're the world champs? They're the national champs. Yes, Todd.
But, saying NBA champions or Super Bowl champions, that sounds cool. I can understand an announcer wanting to say, they're champions of the baseball world. It just sounds really cool. But you could just call it what it is. They won the, I don't know, what would you say then? If it's not the World Series, how would you call that?
I'm not
easy to say Super Bowl
I'm not
champion.
bothered by it. You need to come up with something.
National champions is a college term, so you can't say that for baseball. Champions of baseball, I guess. But even that is questionable.
Okay, but aren't you the national champs?
But that sounds too much like a college term. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Todd.